tobacco farming or cultivation is also dangerous to health, and in what way?
Oh, thank you very much. Tobacco farming is a very intensive work process, and during the work process there are at several stages that the farmer is exposed to tobacco dust. For example, there is a syndrome of the tobacco, the green leaf syndrome, that has been well documented, that the tobacco farmer can be is prone to have. But more importantly, it's when they harvest the tobacco products and they're trying to make it suitable for the tobacco industry to buy from them. During the curing process, they have to do a lot of work, which is highly intensive, and they have to use firewood, so they are exposed also to smoke. They are exposed to the tobacco dust that is generated when they're trying to put the products together, and they are not the only ones that are exposed. They also bring in their children to make sure that these are packed well, and sometimes it gets moldy and they're exposed to mold. So all these are situations where the farmer can actually be exposed to deleterious effect of tobacco. So it's not only about smoking. But more importantly, what I would say is that if you look at the efforts that the tobacco farmer puts into farming, in terms of when the products is at the nursery stage, and they have to work morning, night, spend a lot of time on the farms, and you look at what eventually they get at the end of the process, you realize that it's not that profitable. And then along the line, they are also exposed to some deleterious effect of tobacco dust and of firewood that they use during the curing process.
Okay, so what should the government be doing about this really? Are there alternatives for these farmers, or do you think there's something government can really do about it?
Well, government needs to be engaged by this, by the issue. That's the starting point. Government needs to know that tobacco farmers have to earn a living, and because they have to earn a living, we must, as a matter of necessity, look for ways of finding alternatives to tobacco farming. There are many alternatives that are more productive at little effort that the farmer will put in, and the farmer will not be exposed to the deleterious effect of tobacco. So I think that it's high time that government is engaged by this issue, because these are citizens of Nigeria who desire a gainful employment, and a desire for government to come to their aid in educating them about the alternatives to tobacco farming, providing credit lines for them to be able to switch to other productive forms of farming, and also to ensure that their children and generations are protected from the effect of tobacco dust and firewood that they are exposed to during the curing process.
Okay, I just want to ask, you said it's not that profitable, but I'm wondering whether it's actually profitable. Since, like, the farms we went to, we found out that it was cultivated with cassava. And if you're talking about these health implications and what tobacco can do they really need to farm tobacco? Is it really useful to man? Why should we farm tobacco at all?
Well, it's part of the lack of knowledge that is going on around. Animals shy away from tobacco. They don't eat tobacco. But man it's so funny that animals that are supposed to be at a lower level than man understands the dangerous effect of tobacco, but man is the one that is cultivating it and is using it. And man is supposed to be at a higher level than animals. I think it has to do with a lot of, the farmers need to be educated, and they need to form themselves into a cooperative to be able to approach government, and they need to be willing to want to switch. But more importantly, I think the willingness has to do with the kind of education and the kind of information that they have. They must not be left to the mercy of the tobacco industry.
You talked about risk to their health in terms of smoke, the inhaler, and the rest of it. But in specific terms, what makes a tobacco farmer, the risk they take, different from that of a tomato or other farmers?
Well, like I said one, that it's a labor-intensive process. Well, that's one. And two, you have to, during the curing process, they are exposed to smoke from wood, the firewood that they use for the curing of the tobacco. And if the tobacco goes mold, if develops mold, they are also exposed to the effect of mold. All these have effects on the respiratory system.